Good evening, wonderful people. It's Mark Wilkinson here. It's Tuesday evening. It's time for Life Remixed The Samples. I share some of the book as we've gone through the last 12 weeks. We're on chapter 12 tonight. Right now, I'm live across 8 platforms, and I'm going to ask StreamYard if they can extend it to 10. But I'm now live across Hasmark Publishing group and page, as well as all my own pages, including YouTube, LinkedIn, and all the Facebook. So we're getting out there. We're spreading the word, spreading the vibe. Thank you all so much for the feedback from last week's Straight Talking. We've had thousands of views from across the world, for myself, Rocky, Lofty, and Keith from Flying. And tomorrow night, I'm going to have Dean Thatcher, Brandon Block, and Max. Those of you remember Max as well. So tomorrow night, Straight Talking is going to be the Flying Records interview part 2, and that's going to be something else. That's going to be fantastic. So I can't wait to have those guys with me tomorrow evening, exactly the same time, 7:30 p.m. Flying Records further interview with other members of the team. It's going to be great. So yeah, we're live from London. It's a bit snowy, but we're getting through it. You know, lockdown, well, let's hope it's going to end at some point. It does feel a little bit like Groundhog Day, doesn't it? But we've got to keep going and try and keep smiling and keep working on it. So what I would say is, yeah, I mean, tonight's going to be chapter 12. So for the last 12 weeks, you can go back on my YouTube channel and you can watch each of the samples, Life Remixed Samples videos about each chapter. We've got 2 more to go. So next week is chapter 13 on relationships, and the final chapter is chapter 14, and that's called Celebration, and that's going to be in 2 weeks' time, which, by the way, is the 23rd of February when the book comes out. I mean, couldn't have timed that any better, could I? I'd like to say that I sat and planned that, but not really. It's just happened. So we've got a few plans for the 23rd in 2 weeks' time. So good evening, Mark. Hope you're well. Thank you. You can see there that I can't actually see your name. If you go to streamyard.com/Facebook, I will be able to see your name. A couple of clicks and you can authorize the app. Otherwise, just put your name at the end and then I know who it is. And Gossia, I hope I've said that right. Gossia says hello. Thank you for being here. Love that. If I've said it wrong, please do let me know. But anyway, it's lovely to have you here as well. We're live across lots of pages. It's Life Remixed The Samples. Tonight is chapter 12, and I'm going to share a few things from the chapter. And obviously, if you've got comments or anything else you want to add in, and you want to say hi, or you just want to shout or whatever, then you know, this is your moment. You can just put a comment onto wherever you're watching it from, and it should hopefully come up on my screen here, which would be great. So, excuse me. As far as chapter 12 goes, chapter 12 is called Testify. And you may notice that there's a theme of all these titles of chapters. This is called Testify, and it's an opportunity for me to talk to you guys about you telling your story. You know, you telling your story, you actually doing something in the world that actually, you know, will help other people, because every single one of you there's got a story to tell. You've overcome challenges. You've done things that have been tough, but you've managed to come through them. Whether it's consciously or unconsciously, you know, it's about awareness and understanding what you're doing. So for me, I've written it all in the book, in Life Remixed, and as I say, it's out in 2 weeks. You can still pre-order your copy from my website, markwilkinsonofficial.com as well, should you so desire to do so. Otherwise, it will be on Amazon and all good bookstores. I was going to say maybe a few rubbish ones, but we used to say that about record shops. So anyway, look, it's going to be available in a couple of weeks, which is great. So Testify, chapter 12. I always like to start with a few quotes from people that inspire me or something that I've read. This is a great one. If you're not the hero of your own story, then you're missing the whole point of humanity. If you're not the hero of your own story, then you're missing the whole point of humanity. That's from Steve Maraboli. And I would say also as well, Bob Proctor would say to that as well, don't be an extra in your own movie. Be the star. Be the center. The movie is your life. Yeah, and too many people are sort of waiting in the wings, or, you know, can I have a chance, or can this, you know, no. You be the star. You walk in and you own it, and you make it happen. Right? It's very, very, very important. And Pete's here, excellent. Dancing Dad Pete, we love Pete. Pete really enjoys the Saturday night DJ mixes. And I long hope that I continue to get your videos, Pete, because they're brilliant every Saturday evening. If you want to hear back any of the DJ mixes, just go to Mark Wilkinson Official or mixcloud.com/Mark Wilkinson Official, and you can get there. So just remember, don't be an extra in your own movie. Be the star and get on with it and get going, right? This is good. Paul Lockhart says, it's the story that matters, not just the ending. So enjoy the journey, you know what I mean? Go with it, you know what I mean? Make sure it's a good journey, you know? It's not just about the ending, it's about everything that goes all the way through. That story, your story, has value and is important. Bob Proctor, everything you want is just the other side of your greatest fear. It's so true. It's so true. And certainly when I understood my fears when I was a lot younger, when I was like 15 years younger than now, I definitely had those kind of challenges and those fears, and I had to overcome them. You know, I've said in previous lives and other things, you know, what anyone else thinks of you is none of your business. And certainly comparison is the thief of joy. Those two are real big game changers for me. What anyone else thinks of you is none of your business, and comparison is the thief of joy. So understand your fears and then start to move past them. Really, 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 really important. Here we go. May have to start charging for the videos, multiple sources of income. I love it, Pete. I love it. Well done, mate. Yeah. Bang on brand. I love it. Multiple sources of income is key. It's key to any entrepreneur, anyone who wants to move forward. And then this is a personal story. This is a friend of mine who I met. I actually met him at a Tony Robbins UPW event, Unleash the Power Within. Brilliant event, 4-day thing. Highly recommend you go if you've never been before. But Tony Robbins UPW, when he's done he's done a few virtual ones. They're pretty good. Obviously, you're in your own front room, but they're still pretty good. But we went to the one at XL a few years ago. I went to the one at XL a few years ago, and I met this guy. And Tony Robbins says, stand up and go and give someone a hug nearby. You can't do that in COVID, obviously, but you know, hey. So I turned around and there was this guy that was like about 3 inches taller than me. So I gave him a big hug. His name's Matt Patey. And that day I was having a lot of problems with my knees because I was very stressed. And the ankylosing spondylitis that I suffered from had flared up again. He said to me, everything you want is just the other side of those burning hot coals, mate. And the whole purpose of UPW is to overcome your fear and walk across burning hot coals. And I'll tell you a bit more about that in a minute, because I didn't want to do it. I was like, no, I'm just here to hear Tony Robbins speak, and I'm going back to my hotel to feel sorry for myself. And Matt said, everything you want is just the other side of those burning hot coals, mate. It's great little story. So look, chapter 12, once you've started to make your changes, expand your knowledge and tried and tested some new strategies, you'll just find out what works for you. I know what works for me, and I've seen it work for countless other people now. There are some universal laws that govern our life, and once you get in tune with them, then all of a sudden you can start to make some really big changes. But also you'll need to share what you've learned. You know, I found lots and lots of ways to be unsuccessful. And as I've grown, I found a few ways to be truly happy and successful, but it's taken time, commitment, knowledge, understanding. You know, if your parents were multimillionaire, you know, peace and love, you know, Buddhists or something, you know, and then perhaps you might have learned all of this stuff from when you were born, but not everyone's parents was or were or are. So at the end of the day, they're all doing the best they can, but perhaps there's a different opportunity for you guys to change things just a little bit and become more successful, which is ultimately what we're looking to do, right? Happiness, health, and wealth. I went from resident DJ at Ministry of Sound to a successful touring DJ, 65 countries, traveling all over the place, but then ended up as an unemployed and broken person, unhappy, sick and broke, skint, you know, completely down, nothing going for me. But I had to reinvent myself, to remix myself, remix my life. That's the title of the book, as you can see, it's Life Remixed. I had to remix myself. So I got highly qualified. I started to study and I went into construction. I started from the bottom up, but I just kept going. And I ended up following a few strategies, one that Pete shared with me, which is a beauty, to disappear from an area and then come back to it, which I did. And at a higher level, which was great advice. I did struggle at times, I'll be honest. I did struggle with the day-to-day, and I didn't always felt like I fitted in, and it was strange times to go from a DJ and the music industry for 20 years into the corporate world for 10 years. But I kept going and I kept going. I also knew I had to overcome my biggest fear, which was public speaking. It's quite interesting, actually, that I'm doing all of these lives and speaking and found my voice and I'm sharing everything, because I certainly had a fear of public speaking. It can still pop up from time to time. Clearly in COVID times, there's no audience apart from you beautiful people that are watching me watching me right here. So I would say that it's really, really important to overcome those big fears, any of those big fears you're holding on to, in order to grow, because you become a better person during the journey. So as I said, I got highly qualified, but I did have some struggles and there were some tough times. But if I said to you now, for you to write down my greatest fear is, or even just say it out loud, what would you think? Would it be my greatest fear is public speaking? I read somewhere that some people were more scared of public speaking than perhaps death. It's a strange one. But then you don't have to be frightened. You don't have to be afraid of death either. You can choose to live a different way, which I'll cover in a minute. But my greatest fear is, or certainly was, public speaking. And then the next part of that question is, I will overcome this by. And for me, I said my greatest fear is public speaking, and so I will overcome this by getting a job where I have to public speak. And that's what I did. That's exactly what I did. Wayne saying, yeah, look, the ultimate nightmare for blue greens in equilibrium and e-colors. Absolutely, public speaking. I'm quite high blue, which is the empathizer, etc. with people. Not so much heavy on the green, but certainly, blue greens. That's not a big thing for them. And I think it's very important to continue to overcome these fears, because everything you desire is just the other side of this greatest fear. Carissa says, I too have a fear of public speaking. I've been throwing myself into situations to help overcome that fear. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I did. Thank you for sharing, Carissa, as well. That's what I did. I literally got myself a job where I would have to public speak. And I actually went up the ladder in the health and safety world in construction. I started at the London Olympics. I ended up at Heathrow Airport, and then I ended up at a large developer here in Southwest London. But particularly at the Heathrow job, I was public speaking to 60 to 70 people, giving inductions to the airport to new starters and new people that were coming into the airport. Thousands of people came through Heathrow every single day, and loads of contractors, hundreds of contractors. And I was the man that was chosen to stand in front of them and deliver these talks in order to give people that kind of that intro to the airport. Sometimes I was a bit of a shaking wreck, but I kept going. I kept going, and I kept being kind to myself. I kept saying, "Well done, mate. You're doing all right. Keep going, keep going, keep going." Matt says, "There you go. 2 inductions a week, up to 100 people at Heathrow." Matt knows. That's exactly what I did, Matt. Because you attended a few of them. And yeah, I was a bit of a shaking leaf first few, and even after doing them for a while, I still struggle. I still had to just try and find my feet and keep going and keep going and keep going and keep turning up. There was times when I was like, I can't really do this. I've got 100 angry builders in front of me. I'm joking. But I've got like a huge amount of people that are wanting to hear me speak and want to be inducted to the airport. And I'm struggling, and it was interesting. It was really, really interesting. But I kept going. I kept being kind to myself. Neil's here, the good old days. Exactly, mate. When airports were busy, Neil, that's exactly right. And Neil was actually took over from me in that role. And then Matt says, yeah, I had to cover for you one week. Yeah, yeah, you did. Not easy, was it? It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy standing there and actually being in front of all of these guys and actually delivering the induction. And but I forced myself to do it. I said, I'm going to overcome my fear of public speaking. Despite being a DJ for 20 years, I'm going to overcome this fear. I'm going to make this happen, because everything I want in my life is just the other side of my greatest fear, because that's what I'd read. I was like, okay, fine. Because I was listening by then. I had enough evidence that all of the information I've shared in Life Remixed and all the information that's coming to me, I had enough evidence that it worked. And I said, right, okay, fine. I am in. I'm all in. No messing. I'm all in. And that's what I did. And I got all into it, and I faced those greatest fears, and I overcame them by doing it week in, week out, and getting up there. And now I can't wait for live seminars again and people to be back in rooms and us doing Life Remixed events and all sorts of stuff. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to help as many people as I possibly can who, might be going through a crisis, or indeed, hopefully avoid one altogether. So I've said this before, but it's important. In Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill, he states there are 6 basic fears. And the most human beings suffer from at least one, or indeed all six at once, at one time or another in their lives. Are you ready? Poverty. So there's a fear of poverty, and that can happen that can get hold of people. And that's why a lot of people will stay in a job, which Kevin Green tells me in all the training stands for just over broke, because that's where it will keep you. So, but people have a fear of poverty, but as long as the bills are getting paid and they're working, they think that's going to be all right. And that's okay. But is it really okay? Is that really going to give you your dream life? Perhaps not. But poverty is a big one. People have a fear of criticism, a fear of ill health, which is clearly what we're going through at the moment in the world, a fear of loss of love, a fear of old age, and a fear of death. And we're clearly going through that as well. So ill health and death are the two big fears at the moment. But these six fears, they cycle and they cycle and they cycle and they cycle. So 2008-9, with the credit crunch, there's no money, was a massive fear of poverty. Yeah. Now there's a fear of ill health and death. These things just keep cycling throughout humanity. You can find it in history. It's really quite incredible. Kev's with us. Excellent. There's Kev. Great. Cheers, mate. Great message. Thanks, mate. Yeah, look, I mean, chapter 12 is a really important chapter, because my fears can still come up. I'm going to be straight with you. I'd still, even now I've got this book coming out, but I can still get some fears. I'm not Superman, or, I'm not bulletproof or anything. But my biggest fears are I'm not enough and I won't be loved. And those are just two things that just they can just pop up out of nowhere from time to time, and you go, oh, here we go. But I can acknowledge them now, but I'm not emotionally attached to them, and I certainly don't let them take root in my conscious mind or my subconscious mind. I quickly replace them, and this is the important bit. I quickly replace them with positive, loving, and kind messages to myself. I literally just say, I am enough. It's okay. You know what I mean? I'm all right. I'm enough. I'm doing a great job. Everyone's enjoying it, and people are giving me great feedback. And by the way, thank you for putting your comments for wherever you're watching, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, in the Hasmark groups, in the Mark Wilkinson groups. Thank you. I really, really appreciate any feedback that you give us. But I am enough and I am love. And those two things generally do the trick, and I can get back to my day, right? But I've also found that fear and excitement are quite similar as well. You can have great fear. Some people allow fear just to overwhelm them. And Bob also says that fear can stop you faster than a speeding bullet. And it's true. At the end of the day, if you're fearful of something, you'll just be like, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not doing anything. I'm not, fears can just stop you from enjoying your life. But if you can turn that fear into some sort of, I don't love the word excitement, although I think it's a similar kind of emotion. If you can turn that fear into excitement and dance through your life, but with enthusiasm and a smile on your face, trust me, you're going to be happy. I don't know if you know this, but did you know the word enthusiasm comes from two Greek words, en, meaning within, and theos, meaning God. So entheos. Entheos literally means enthusiasm, which means God within. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? At the end of the day, when you're enthusiastic and you're buzzing and you're feeling good, you're not massively excited, you're not massively depressed, but you're just enthusiastic, and you're like, yeah, come on, what's life got to offer me, and what am I going to give? Get yourself into that place of enthusiasm, and it means God within. It's incredible, really. It was used to describe people who possess God-like abilities, or who are very strong, God-inspired, full of wisdom and convictions. It's really interesting when you start to get into it and you look at where the language has come from and the way it works. I get a lot of that, obviously, when I studied the word dis-ease. And it was really, really, really interesting to get into. So, but I knew that I'd suffered from each of those six basic fears from Think and Grow Rich at different times in my life. I knew I had. But I wonder how many of you guys will actually say, yeah, okay, I'm feeling one of those or all of those, I think it's important to get self-aware. And that's why we use coaching and the e-colors tools and things like that to get people to be more self-aware. The more self-aware you are about yourself, then the more you can be aware of other people, and you can all support each other and get moving through life that way. I'd say facing those fears and replacing them with absolute faith and enthusiasm in your life, in life in general, is absolutely vital. The more you do it, the better it's going to be. But facing your fears is a big one, a really big one. And the title of the chapter is Testify. So you absolutely got to testify. It's so, it's such a great buzz. Judy's on board. Thanks for sharing your story. I can't wait to get your book in my hands. Thank you, Judy. I really, really appreciate that. You can see the The date is there. I'm not hiding it. But the point is, yeah, it's out in 2 weeks, and it's been a wonderful journey. And I can't wait for people to start reading it. And then we've got so many other plans and so many other things we're going to do. It's wonderful stuff. And thank you, Judy, for everything that you do. Let me read you this little quote as well. Andy Dufresne from The Shawshank Redemption. Who enjoyed The Shawshank Redemption as a film? If you haven't watched it, why not? You must go and watch The Shawshank Redemption. I know it's nearly 3 hours long, but what a film. What a film. I love a redemption story. My life is a redemption story, in all honesty. And it's a vital book, The Shawshank Redemption, or vital film, I should say. But there's a great quote in there from Andy Dufresne, just the night before the big thing happens. I don't want to do any spoilers. The night before the big thing happens in his life, after a long time, in prison, he says to Red, he says to him, "Get busy living or get busy dying." It's a great quote when you think about it. Get busy living or get busy dying. Positive thoughts and actions, they equal being alive. That's get busy living, positivity, thinking, creating, doing good things. Negative thoughts and actions can actually equal dying. You can worry yourself to death. I mean, it's a phrase that I've heard my mum say, and stuff like that. People have actually suffered with this. There's evidence of it. There's Kev, one of the best movies ever. Kev, I couldn't agree with you more. Emma will always laugh, but I always get a bit teary at the end of a film. And I've seen The Shawshank Redemption about 100 times, and I still get a bit teary about it. It's an amazing film, absolutely amazing film. Much of how I felt actually when coming through my addictions and my addictive state when I was a lot younger, well before Matt or Neil knew me at Heathrow and stuff like that. I had a lot of addictive tendencies. And I actually felt, as I started to come through those addictions and start to come out the other side, I felt a little bit like Andy Dufresne when he was like, swimming through the river of whatever, swimming out of the sewer to actually come out the other end, but actually be, there's that moment where he's in the river and he's like, I'm giving away spoilers here, aren't I? But, he's there and the water's cleansing him. It's a dramatic, cinematic moment. And very, very, I identify with it hugely because it was a real turning point that brought me to that point. But get busy living or get busy dying. As I said, I walked into Tony Robbins' UPW in Excel in London, and as I walked in, Emma's not a huge fan, so I went on my own. And as I walked in, I remember walking through, and all I heard was this voice go, "Wilkie!" And I turned around, and it was Brandon Block, and I was like, "Brandon, what are you doing here? It's amazing." And I ended up spending 4 days with the company of Brandon Block at UPW, Tony Robbins' event. And it was brilliant. And we went through some great moments together and some tough moments together in that 4 days. But it was really something. But I was in real trouble at that time. My legs were really painful. I had huge swollen knees, litres of fluid in my legs and stuff. It was really a horrible, horrible time. I've got pictures that are in the book. But I struggled through. And then there's that quote from the beginning of the chapter where Matt Patey, my friend and wonderful business partner now, Matt actually said to me, everything you want is just the other side of those hot coals. And you need to walk across this firewalk to overcome your fears to be able to get there. And him and Seb, his friend Seb, who's now also our business partner with myself and Emma, we just bonded. We bonded over it. Basically I found myself with my shoes and socks off, literally hobbling because my knees were so bad they wouldn't bend. Hobbling through the Excel with my shoes and socks off, going out to the car park, queuing up with loads of other people to walk these 6 steps across like 2,000 degrees of heat. It wasn't my most comfortable moment, but I feel that it was incredible because it just got me in state and ready to go. And I think that's so important. I think this is wonderful. I mean, it's a wonderful. It's a wonderful. I don't feel I have many fears. Is that normal? Whatever life throws at me, I'd like to think I'll find a way to get through or around it. That sounds reckless when you say it out loud. Not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Thank you for sharing. I would say that it's vitally important that we all get past our fears. Many of us, if we've been parented like wonderfully well or brought up around us, then we can actually deal with many things. I've had to learn and study and grow. When I was younger, I wasn't able to deal with the fears that I'd inherited or from the people around me. And it was difficult, and I had to learn. I had to learn to change and grow. And so, look, what I would say is that, if you don't feel you suffer many fears, that's great. If you feel you can deal with anything that life throws at you, brilliant. I had to go through incurable disease and bankruptcy to be able to actually be able to say what you're saying there. So good on you, because more people, if they can keep learning that stuff and actually get through fears, wonderful stuff. But as I say, I continue to grow. Kevin Green lets me share the stage with him when I'm on his events, and I've gone from being a DJ in one of London's top super clubs, Ministry of Sound. I've gone through doing the shaking, nervous health and safety inductions at Heathrow Airport. But I think most important thing is to understand that your life is just a journey. Everything moves, everything's fleeting. It's about enjoying the moment, because that moment's just gone, and now it's this moment, and now that moment's gone, and it's just this moment, and you keep going, and it's about enjoying the moment. Don't let anything take that away from you. It's very, very important. As you'll read when you buy the book, which you can, of course, at markwilkinsonofficial.com, and then across Amazon and all good bookstores in the coming weeks. But I'm completely comfortable sharing with others my personal development journey and my now business success and life success in marriage and everything else. I'm comfortable sharing it because ultimately, this is a redemption tale. And there's things in there that I'm sure that will help you guys grab, some good information and perhaps change your relationship with money, or change your relationship, with your partner, and to be better, or business relationships or anything like that. I think it's very, very important. I'm not interested in how old or how young you are. I'm not interested. You can have results or you can have excuses, but you cannot have both. You must step up if you're going to start to do something really, really important with your life. You can do this. You can do what I'm doing. If you want to do it, why not? Go for it. It's never too late to make a difference in your life or in other people's lives. The people that love you immediately around you, of course, but then why not out into the big wide world? Spread your message, tell people good things, and get moving. Life Remixed is about that. That's what it's here. And I want to learn, grow. I want to learn more and to grow more. I want to smile more, and I want the same for you. So at the end of each chapter, we do some remix opportunities. And one of the things I would say is identify, face, and overcome those 6 basic fears. If they pop up, then learn what's going on in your conscious and your subconscious. Remember what I said, what anyone thinks of you is none of your business. Okay, massively important. Yeah, don't waste a moment on what anyone else is thinking, because you can't control it anyway. So what does it matter? But stand up and be counted. I would say on any of these items, reach out for some help and support. Get a coach or get someone who can help you get moving, because a coach will get you there quicker. You only have to talk to sports people. They've all got coaches who will push them and push them and push them. But stand up and be counted. You can attend a Life Remixed event. We're going to be doing some online events coming up shortly. We've got e-colors as well. We're doing some more events for that as well. So you guys will be invited. Attend Tony Robbins UPW. Even the virtual one is great. Attend the Kevin Green event here in the UK when he puts them back on after COVID. But really, really important, I want you to share your story and testify, because I guarantee you'll help other people. And I think that's so important. You will help other people, and ultimately that would be a beautiful thing for you to do. So stand up, go for it, share your story and testify, because that's chapter 12. So next week we're going to come on to chapter 13, and chapter 13 is all about relationships. Yay. And all the ones I got wrong, and then finally when I managed to get one right. So but you learn by your mistakes as long as you don't keep repeating them. So I would say that next Tuesday is going to be chapter 13 at 7:30 p.m. Tomorrow morning I'll be back at 8 a.m. with Well Done Wednesday, so a bit of a motivational message for hump day, just to get you moving. Wednesday morning at 8 a.m. and then on Wednesday evening, so tomorrow evening, I'm going to welcome Dean Thatcher, Brandon Block and Max from Flying Records. So it's going to be a real old school trip down memory lane again. There's going to be loads of people tuning in, and it's going to be absolutely fantastic. So I'm really, really buzzing. I'm really buzzing about having all the lads back on another call. Last week's was huge and people loved it, which was great. Pete's jumped in. Best thing I did, listen to myself, made the decision, created the plan, and let the rest happen. Exactly right. Trust the universe. Trust the universe and really put yourself out there and go for it. Do not allow anyone to tell you that you can't do all the things that you would love to do. You can do it. I promise you can do it. And if I can do this, then you can do it. you can do whatever you want to do. Thanks to your advice, mate. Look at that, Pete. Thank you, Pete. We only spent an hour online, didn't we? Really, having her on a phone call, having a good chat about everything. But you took it. You took the bull by the horns and you stepped up. We've known each other for a long time, mate, and you've been an excellent advisor to me. You were the one who advised me about what to do at Heathrow, and it worked perfectly. As I recovered from the bankruptcy. And Neil's just saying, thanks, Mark, great energy. I hope you're good, Neil. Thank you, mate. I hope everything's good with you. I know it's tough times out there. But the bottom line is, you know, Life Remixed is coming out. I'm excited. I'm enthused. I want you to be enthused. You know, excitement is good, but I don't want to get depressed. So I'm just enthused. But I am buzzing. It is great. And I'd love you to join me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And then again tomorrow evening at 7:30 p.m. The schedule continues Friday afternoon. We're now going to be doing Fearless Friday, 3 p.m. every Friday here in the UK, because that spans across the Hasmark, my book publisher, and goes right out into Canada and the States in the morning there, and then into Asia in the evening as well. So that's all really fantastic stuff. And then Saturday evening, of course, we do the DJ mix, and then we start again Sunday evening with Ask Mark Anything. So it's all good. I'm really grateful to you all for listening. Thank you. If you found some value in the video, then share it with other people. Please stick it on their page or whatever you would like to do. But yeah, onwards and upwards. I want you to have a lovely rest of the evening. I'll be back online tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. See you soon.